What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the TMossBoss show, and it looks like you guys are going to be getting a 2-for-1 special today. So, two things I'm going to be talking about. Not buying Birkin bags and paying a woman's bills. Especially because I'm gonna give y'all a whole backstory on that, and then the second thing I'm gonna be talking about is why I'm bad at arguments. So, anyways, yeah, let's talk on this Birkin bag and paying deal situation. So there is this rapper that came out and said that if you're not buying Birkin bag that runs up to like $20,000 or paying her bills, then you pretty much don't deserve her. Now I seen that and automatically had guessed that that type of woman, she's a gold digger and she's not meant for you. So I think it's best if you do try to dodge that relationship. But my thing is like, why are you expecting that from me? Where does it say in the relationship description that I have to do that? Like, they didn't have Birkin bags, or I'm back in the biblical days, and this seemed like a lot of relationships was going pretty successful back then. So my thing is, why do I have to? Why does something like that have to happen? Like, why do I have to buy the Birkin bag? How come you can't buy it? Like, what's wrong with your pockets? Because I'm like, my pockets, if you expecting me to buy you a Birkin bag that runs up to $20,000, oh, that's going to be far down the road. Like, when I'm a, famous YouTuber making $1 million, every minute of the day. So I'm saying, and even then, I'm going to be like, why are you expecting me to buy you a Birkin bag? I'm like, no, I'm using my money for a good reason. I'm like, it's either going to be saved or I'm going to be using that money for myself. But yeah, if I am in a relationship, if I'm married, then yeah, I'll probably do stuff like that. But if you're expecting that type of energy and we just started dating, yeah, that ain't gonna happen. I'm sorry, but that's not me. I don't do things like that, especially if the relationship just started. So yeah, it looks like the relationship is gonna end. But yeah, that's just crazy that rapper came out and said that, and there was like people like supporting her on it and stuff. I'm like, y'all are. Well, I know who I'm not dating because y'all expected that from me. I'm like, nah. And then they'd be the main ones. Those same women, they'll be the main ones like getting on guys for posting memes about like a woman doing all these crazy and different things for a woman so she can buy him the PS5. And I'm like, you guys. So my thing is, what would you rather buy for your significant other? A $500 gaming console where you can literally play whatever game that you want to play on it, or a $20,000 bag where you can literally find you a much more better bag. I found me a waterproof. I remember I had this Adidas waterproof backpack for like 2-3 years. That had to been the best backpack that I have ever had. I wish it's stuff like that where you wish you can buy multiple. Like, if you would have known how long it was going to last, I definitely would have bought like 3-4 of those backpacks. So I'm like, oh, okay, well, I'm straight for for the next couple of decades. Cause yeah, I'm definitely gonna just buy, like, I should have just bought like just everything that I see on the shelf but that backpack was like, I think like $90 or $100. But I'm telling you, I will put things in there, nothing would get wet. Nothing would get wet. And I'm all like, yo, this is the best backpack. Then it started getting old and deteriorating and things. So my thing is, with that same concept, with the $20,000 bag, do you understand how hurt I would be? Because I'm like, I would imagine that that's just a designer bag. It ain't waterproof. It ain't bulletproof. It ain't nothing. How much does a bulletproof vest cost? I'm like, you mean it's because a bulletproof vest price? Huh? Jordan? Oh, it's that's just like for design. But okay, so they got one for $449, and then they got, that's a hoodie. Wow, that is crazy. I did not know that they made a hoodie bulletproof vest. That is kind of cool, actually. But it's $600. That is sick. Does it have sleeves, or is it like, how does that work? Wow, it's like an actual zip up hoodie, and it's a bulletproof vest at the same time. That is crazy. Wow. and it's on sale. It would originally cost $795, and it got a almost a 5-star rating. That is crazy. So there is a such thing as a bulletproof hoodie that cost $600. You would rather get you a $20,000 bag just because of the name. That's why I'm like, yeah, the relationship is over. Nah, the relationship is over. I'm like, small items I can understand, but an item like that, and I'm like, we ain't even married, we ain't even. Yeah, I'm like, don't expect the relationship to go any further. I'm like, I thought like, cause yesterday I bought these shoes, and I'm like, I thought they were expensive, but I'm like, no, there's $20,000 bags. So when I see things like that, then I kind of feel better about my purchases that I've ever made, because I'm like, yo, that stuff. There's people out there that will say like, oh, buying Jordans and all that stuff is unnecessary, but there's people out there really wanting $20,000 bags. And I'm like, I can literally make a bag. So for those that don't know, I have a merch store. You could go check out some of the merch. A lot of merch is coming out soon. But there's a lot of merch up already. But they do have it where I can make bags on there. My thing is that I can make you a bag, and most likely the bag is gonna be under like what, $50, under $100 the most. Like that's the max. That is literally the max. That is going to be under $100. And you mean to tell me that you would still rather want a $20,000 bag? Do you know what you can do with $20,000? This is where I gotta act like Terry Crews on Everybody Hates Chris. Do you know what you can do with that money? There's cars that they give away on The Price is Right that's not even worth $20,000. And you want a bag that's worth that much? My thing is, what's so special? Nah, I gotta look up online now. What is so special about a Birkin bag? See, they already had it up there. So they're like, the Birkin pockets made it highly functional, and the bag seals to prevent anything from spilling. Hermes makes the bags in France using premium material like calf skin, alligator skin, and even ostrich skin. Each bag is made entirely by hand. So $500,000 for that bag just because it got an animal skin on it. See, nah. Nah. I'm all like, you better go out. I'm like, and you can most likely get you an ostrich or an alligator for a cheaper price. How much would like an ostrich would cost? Let's just see. Ostrich price. So you could get you an ostrich bird. An ostrich chick from 30 to 60 days old costs around $525. You could get you a whole ostrich for $500, a baby ostrich at that. Like, that is crazy. According to ostrichgrowers.com, appreciating to almost twice that after 90 days. Yearling runs about 2,500 slash bird, with adult birds running from $7,500 to over $10,000. So you can, even an adult ostrich is cheaper than a Birkin bag. How much would an alligator cost? Let's see how much an alligator price for alligators. And they don't even have. They're like, why would they? That probably be all like, why would you want to go out and buy an alligator? I'm trying to prove a point, okay? I just need to know the price. A whole skin alligator. Oh, these are just people just going around just killing alligators. No, I'm saying like I need like I'm like, if I'm trying to like build a zoo or something. I'm trying to be who was that Brad Pitt that did that movie We Bought a Zoo? Or no, it was Matt Damon. Yeah, it was Matt Damon that did that movie. I was like, I forgot who it was, but anyways, but yeah, I'm like, I'm trying to build a zoo, so I'm like, yo, let me just get an ostrich and an alligator. I'm pretty sure they don't cost that much. I could get me a ostrich. I could get a baby ostrich, okay, possibly an alligator, a bulletproof vest hoodie, and I still have money to spend. So I'm saying, like, you gotta see your options out there and realize that a $20,000 or even a $500,000 let's see the most expensive Birkin bag. That's a Christian Dior. There's a Christian Dior bag that costs $20. Nah, that has to be fake. It's a nice looking. That's actually nice looking. That's something I will wear that. I will honestly wear that. $115,000. A what? Why would that watch cost? Oh, that's a bracelet. What is that? It cost $1 million. I'm like, you are high, thinking I would spend that much. So then they're all right. So him selling for a grand total of $300,000. Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. I wouldn't spend that much on no bag. I'm all like, yeah, there's cars I can get for that price. And a Lamborghini, I think like the cheapest Lamborghini that you can buy, cheapest Lamborghini price. You could get a Lamborghini for $10. That's crazy. $211,000. I don't feel like that might be the cheapest. I don't know. But anyways, I could get me a Lamborghini, and I would be much more happy with that than a $300,000. That's crazy, man. And people and a woman would really expect you to buy that bag. I'm all like, nah. You find somebody. Go date a rapper. Go date a rapper. Go date Floyd Mayweather. But if you thinking that TMossBoss is gonna get you a $300,000 Birkin bag, yeah, you're obviously smoking crack, meth, doing pills of all sorts. You're smoking the strongest weed on earth. Like, something is literally wrong with you. You have mental issues if you think I'm gonna buy you that bag. But first, let me get a water break before I move on to the second thing. Yep, that tastes good. That tastes good. But anyway, so second thing. Why am I bad at arguments? So here's the thing. I don't really like arguing. And I know this is like just completely different from what I was just talking about, but I was like, I wanted to get, like I said, I wanted to give y'all a 2-for-1 special. I'll do this from time to time. But yeah, anyways, but no, why I'm bad at arguments is because I'm not really an arguing person. And I know like there's, cause I was just reading this, like, it wasn't like a Wikipedia page, but it was one of those like fan made like Wikipedia pages, like not on the Wikipedia website itself, but it's like on like one of those like secondary like type Wikipedia. Like if you can't get it on Wikipedia, then you go on one of these other websites. So I was reading this one where it was like some like haters had wrote this whole thing about me and stuff, making it seem like that they knew everything about me. And then that was like the one thing that I didn't read the whole thing, but I just like looked at the ending, and they made sure they shouted themselves out like, oh yeah, and I'm such and such, and we wanted to write this because TMossBoss is an idiot and he's bad at arguments. I'm like, what does that have to do with anything? Do you think when they go to a content creator's channel, they're there to see if he's good at arguments or not? That's why you'll see the majority of my videos have nothing to do with arguments. Like, I didn't come here. So, to speak on that, I did not come to YouTube to argue with people. I didn't come to YouTube to beef with people, to go back and forth, have drama, all of that stuff. I came here to simply entertain people. Now, if me talking about haters and cracking jokes and all that stuff, if that's what entertains a crowd, I will do that. If reaction videos entertains a crowd, I will do that. If gaming videos, whatever videos I'm doing, if it entertains a crowd, I'm going to do it. But just to let you guys know, I did not come here to argue. And people, they always try to like get an argument out of me, but I'm like, I don't have the energy for that. I don't have the energy to go back and forth with a person, because that stuff is like, that's time consuming. Like, I'll tell you this, like back when I was probably younger, I probably would have been much more up for the whole game of arguing back and forth, because I was a kid. But as I got older, as I became an adult, I'm like, this whole arguing stuff, that's just dumb. It's stupid. What are you arguing for? Especially if it's over internet stuff. If it's over YouTube videos. So that's why I'm like, yeah, these people are stupid, man. Like, you guys is like wasting your time. But anyways, but when I was a kid, oh my God, I would argue all the time. Literally, I would argue with teachers, family, friends. Arguing was my thing. I loved it. I loved it. But as I got older, I just didn't have the energy for it no more because it was time consuming. I would argue for fun. I would be serious when arguing with people. I remember it was like one of the worst arguments I had to say I ever got into. It was an internet argument, but it was honestly, it was like one of those things where it's just all like, it was like a my bad situation. Like I'll admit I was in the wrong, but I just felt like the way people was taking it serious, that they shouldn't have been that serious about it. And it was crazy because I actually had got called out a racist for it, but I was like, I see, here's the thing. If I had just, all right, so I'm gonna just tell y'all this story. I'm gonna just tell, before I defend myself, I'm gonna tell y'all this story first. So anyways, so Zayn Malik, I believe that's his name. I think that's his last name. Well, Zayn's his first name. But anyways, I seen that name trending on Twitter. Now, before I get into it, I had just woke up. And when I just wake up, I check my phone, check social medias and all that stuff. So I seen his name. My dumb self, I'll admit, I was in the wrong. I was 100% in the wrong. And I that's what I should do. I should, because there was one of the girls I went to school with that I offended and stuff. But anyways, tell me why, when I woke up and I seen his name, why did I think it was the Boston Bombers name? And I wasn't so much as like saying that I got Zayn, like seeing his face. I got him. I just seen his name and was just all like, yo, did that? I was clicking on the name to be like, oh, they must have like sentenced him or something. You know, because I'm like, yeah, that man was in it. If you watch the movie Patriots Day, you'll understand what I'm talking about and things, or you could just read about it and stuff. But anyways, yeah, I didn't even see Zayn Malik's face, so maybe I should have said that and things. But like I said, I was the arguing person. I have to say that was probably the one argument that just drained like the whole arguing stuff out of me and things. But anyways, so I made a tweet saying, tell me why I thought Zayn Malik was the Boston Bomber. I should have maybe said, like, you know, I seen his name, thought it had something to do with the Boston Bomber, but it wasn't. But I didn't see Zayn Malik's face. I didn't, you know, so it wasn't so, but they had called me racist thinking that I seen Zayn Malik's face and was like, oh, that's the Boston Bomber. That wasn't the situation. That wasn't the case. But anyways, yeah, it was a girl that I went to school with. She was, she's, I think she was the one that called me racist. And then from there, it just led into like a 2-3 day argument. And I was like, oh my God. Like, why? I'm like, I don't want to deal with this no more, man. Like, when I knew that there is people out there that will argue with you for days on end, I'm like, oh no, I can't do this. I can't do this at all. I'm like, nah, man, this is stupid. So, yeah, so at that point, I was like, yeah, we were arguing for a long time. And then eventually, I would say that I did win the argument. But it just, I don't know, it could have ended in a draw. But I felt like I was like cracking jokes. And people was responding and laughing about the jokes that I was cracking. But then the one girl, she did say some like racist stuff. But it was funny. It was like I remember there was one girl. It was like the friend that I went to, or the girl that, well, we were friends at one point in time. But after that Zayn Malik stuff, I was like, yeah, she hated me after that. But I think we cool now. We'll be like liking each other's posts and viewing each other's stories on social media. So I feel like, you know, we're still following each other on social media and stuff. But yeah, I just think I should like reach out to her, probably because it's 2 a.m. right now. So I should reach out to her one of these days and just be like, hey, so there was like a long time ago when we got into an argument and I said some things. I would like to apologize because I didn't mean any of the stuff I said. I was just, you know, I was a kid at the time and I wasn't really thinking about the things I was saying. But I don't even think I was a kid at the time. How old was I when that situation? I can't remember. It was when did Zayn Malik leave One Direction? Because I think that's why he was trending. The day Zayn left 1D. When was that day? March 20. Yeah, so it was in 2015 when that happened. But I was like, what? I was, yeah, I was a kid. Well, I kind of was. I was still in my teenage days, like my last few, like, teenage years. But Yeah, man, I messed up. I'll admit I messed up that day, but yeah, then there was like other days. I remember I would post about stuff, and I'm like, I here's the thing, like I just people say that I'm not good at arguing. I am. I just don't, because I remember that was like one of the classes that I had was speech and debate, and I passed that class. I passed that class with flying colors. And it was one of my favorite classes because why? I was good at arguing. I loved arguing about stuff. So the teacher, he'll just give us like random things to argue about, and it will be like from what's better, a light bulb or a freaking watermelon and stuff. And then they're like, argue about that. Bro, I will be sitting there writing 3 pages about why a light bulb is better. I'm like, you get light, you can see things better. They put them, when was the last time you heard them putting a watermelon on a car so you can see? No, they put lights on the car so you can see. So I'm like, bro, I'm saying I will go on and on and on about something. Okay, give me something to talk about, and I will defend it to its, if it's good, if it's something that's like, like why are I'm like looking around my room right now, why do they give us shoe boxes when we're buying new shoes or something, or when we're getting shoes? I'm like, cuz I don't want my shoes to get dirty. Imagine if it's like raining outside, and I mean, yeah, the box is going to get all messed up, but the box is gonna get messed up first before the shoes get. And if somebody's just all like, trying to argue me about why shoe boxes shouldn't exist, oh they collect that all of this. I'm all like, that's what makes the shoes are the shoe boxes. I'm all like, there's like some pretty basic shoe boxes out there, but there's some shoe boxes that I got where I'm like, yo, these are better looking than the shoes. So yeah, there's like I honestly I could go on and on and on about stuff, but it was like at a point in time though, it's like when I was in high school, I was just, that was my thing. I just like arguing. So probably if all of this stuff that happened, like after like high school and all of that, like, cause I like a lot of arguing, yeah, it just happened to me while I was an adult. So I was just all like, okay, like what's, like when you grow up in things and when you actually have responsibilities and you realize like the whole arguing stuff is for kids, like tricks ain't the only things for kids. Like arguing is definitely one of them. So that's why I'm like, yeah, I gave up on the whole arguing stuff after high school. But anyways, but no, speech and debate. I'm telling you, if you're in high school and that's a class, take that class. Speech and debate is literally that was the funnest class ever. Cause it was more than just speech and debate. Like it was a lot of like improvised stuff, and that's why I had to say like I really like the whole improvised thing instead of like writing down the script. I had to say I'm much more better at improvising things than writing down the script. And the majority, I had to say like 99% of my episodes and videos and anything that I produce like online, it's all improvised. All of it. Like I don't write down a script for nothing that I do. I'm like, I don't like it. I don't like, I'm like, okay, like I need to, because even when I do like comedy skits and stuff, and if I'm like saying things in a comedy skit, I'm like, nah, I'm like, I like gotta write down, memorize the lines, go over them over and over. I'm like, no, I'm gonna just, say something. If I like what I said, I'm gonna keep it and then just move on to the next part. And so that's how I do things. But anyways, but yeah, back on arguing. I'm like, people always be wanting to argue with me about stuff, and I'm like, and that's like one thing where they're like, when I see comments like that on my channel or videos, I just think it's just dumb, and I'm like, people just got too much time on their hands, but they're all like, oh, if you delete this comment and don't argue with me, then you're bad at arguments. I'm like, no, I just don't want to argue with you. I'm like, you might have the time to argue, but I don't have the time to argue. So yeah, I think, yeah, from now on, I'm like, look, I ain't gonna focus on that stuff. I'll talk about it from time to time, but I ain't gonna give it like my whole day and things. Like I'm like, nah, I can't do that. And I know that was like a lot of times like when I would do that and things, like it's been forever since I've like, sat down and just argued with a person. It's like you kind of get rusty after a while. Like you gotta practice that stuff. But I just felt like, my life was just pretty silent. So I didn't really have nothing to argue over. It's like, okay, at this point of life, I was just living it. Excuse me. And I was just, being an adult. And then people, they just all like want to bring me back to that like child phase. I'm like, no, I'm not going to argue with you over some, especially over some YouTube videos. I'm like, I feel like that arguing over YouTube videos is literally the dumbest thing ever, because I'm like, you guys can very well just, and I have to say, when you, as you get older, you just get to the conclusion of the argument. I don't start from the beginning. I'm like, oh, well, this is why I do this videos, and then, keep going back and forth. I'm like, no, I got straight to the conclusion. I'm like, stop watching my videos. And people will argue over that. They're all like, oh, that's an invalid argument. I'm like, no, you just don't want to accept that. But it's not like when people, when they tell you that, when you say something and they're all like, that's an invalid argument, unless your argument had absolutely nothing to do with the situation, it is not an invalid argument when you're telling a person. So putting yourself in my example, if you're making some YouTube videos and a person says, stop doing these videos, I don't like them, and then you respond back just cutting straight to it, going straight to the conclusion of your argument, saying, stop watching my videos, don't come back. If they respond saying that that's an invalid argument, ask them how. Because I'm like, that's something that I've always said. I'm like, if you don't like a restaurant, you're going to sit in the restaurant until they give you some food that you like. If you don't like a movie, you're going to sit all the way throughout that whole movie and talk about how you don't like it. If there's a pair of shoes that you have and they're uncomfortable, you ain't going to take them shoes back up to the store. I'm saying it's stuff like that where I'm all like, no, you guys want the argument to keep going on. I don't. I'm an adult. I ain't got time to be arguing with people. So that's what I'm like, yo, y'all gonna have to take that up. Find a person that wants to argue. But until then, TMossBoss does not want to argue. His arguing days have been retired, okay? I'm done with the whole arguing scene. I don't have no reason, no plans to come out of it. Like, I'm gonna say what I need to say. After that, if y'all can't accept it, that is on you. So anyways, but yeah, I will talk to you guys later. Thank you guys for watching and or listening. If you're viewing this on YouTube, make sure you like and subscribe. If you're viewing this on a podcast streaming service, make sure you follow or subscribe, however it's set up. And also, I got some merch that's coming out for my brand Wastelander, so go check that out. Probably gonna have some TMossBoss merch coming out soon. And yeah, I will talk to you guys later. Thank you guys for watching and or listening, and peace.